He invited his black ex-wife to his wedding to humiliate her, but her beginning. The sky over New Manhattan shimmered with streaks of neon as anti-gravity transports floated above the gleaming towers. The city had been rebuilt after the corporate wars, its new architecture powered by fusion cores and defended by orbital drones. On the surface, it looked like paradise, but beneath the chrome and glass was the same old story of money, power, and pride. Jordan Vale knew that story better than anyone. He was a millionaire technocrat, a man who had made his fortune by designing Neuralink implants that allowed people to merge with AI. His company, Vale Dynamics, had contracts with the Galactic Trade Federation. He was rich, powerful, and admired on the surface. But what the city didn't see was the bitterness he carried. Jordan had once been married to a woman named Nyla Carter. She had been his equal, brilliant, strong, and fiercely independent. She was also black, and in the early days of his rise, her presence by his side had sparked controversy among some of his wealthy, elitist investors. Jordan had defended her at first, but as time passed, his hunger for status outweighed his love. Their marriage crumbled, and Jordan divorced her coldly, trading her for the approval of powerful allies. Now, years later, Jordan was preparing for his second wedding. His new fiancée, Cassandra Levane, was the daughter of a galactic senator. Marrying her would cement his position among the elite. Everything had to be perfect. Except Jordan couldn't resist one cruel twist. He sent an invitation to Nyla, not out of kindness, not out of lingering affection, but to humiliate her. He pictured her walking into the crystal-lit cathedral of his wedding, surrounded by senators, CEOs, and galactic aristocrats, looking like the outsider she was. He wanted her to see him triumphant, powerful, and untouchable. But what Jordan didn't know was that Nyla had changed, and she wasn't coming to his wedding as a broken woman. The wedding day arrived. The celestial cathedral hovered over the city, its glass spires refracting sunlight into rainbow prisms. Guests arrived in hover limousines, escorted by drones and security mechs. Inside, holographic doves circled beneath vaulted ceilings, while orchestral AI performed symphonies composed in real time. Jordan stood at the altar, a smug smile on his face. Cassandra, radiant in her crystalline gown, walked toward him, her father watching with approval. Everything was as Jordan planned. Then the cathedral doors opened. Nyla stepped inside. She wore a sleek black gown woven with threads of light. Each step she took shimmering like a starfield. She had changed her hair, short and crowned with silver ornaments, and her eyes carried a calm, powerful fire. People turned. Whispers spread through the crowd. Jordan smirked, believing he had achieved his goal. She was here. She would watch him rise above her. But Nyla wasn't alone. Beside her walked a man, tall, bronze-skinned, with an aura that seemed to bend the air around him. His eyes glowed faintly, not like any human's. He moved with a grace that unsettled even the security mechs. Jordan frowned. Who was he? The ceremony continued, but Jordan's mind kept drifting back to Nyla. Every time he looked her way, she wasn't broken. She wasn't jealous. She wasn't ashamed. She was amused. When the vows were about to begin, Cassandra's father raised his hand. "One moment," he said. "Before we continue, I must ask, who is this guest you brought, Miss Carter?" The cathedral grew quiet. Nyla smiled faintly. "This is Kalen," she said, "ambassador of the Thalreen Confederacy." Gasps filled the room. The Thalreen were a mysterious alien race, one that had only recently begun diplomatic contact with humanity. Their technology was centuries ahead, their influence unmatched. For Nyla to walk in with one of them was beyond shocking. Jordan's chest tightened. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. Kalen inclined his head politely, his strange eyes scanning the guests. I am here at Nyla's request. We are partners. His voice carried an alien resonance, deep and layered, as if multiple beings spoke through him. Jordan's smugness evaporated. Suddenly, whispers filled the cathedral, not about his triumph, but about Nyla. The woman he had cast aside now stood arm in arm with one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. The ceremony resumed, but the energy had shifted. Senators and CEOs no longer focused on Jordan. Their eyes lingered on Nyla and Kaylin. Cassandra herself stole glances, her composure cracking. When the priest began the binding vows, Nyla rose from her seat. "Forgive me for interrupting," she said, her voice carrying across the cathedral. "But I must speak." Jordan's stomach dropped. The guest turned toward her, curious, expectant. "You invited me here, Jordan." Nyla continued, her tone calm, almost regal. "I know why. You wanted to humiliate me. You wanted me to see how far you climbed. But what you don't realize is that you haven't climbed at all. You've trapped yourself. You sacrificed love for status. You traded loyalty for power. And yet you are still small." Jordan's face flushed with rage. "How dare you?" Kaylin raised a hand, and the air shimmered with a wave of energy. The cathedral's drones froze midair. The guests fell silent. Nyla's gaze locked on Jordan. "You see, Jordan, I came not to be humiliated, but to show you what you threw away. I found someone who values me, not as a symbol, not as a stepping stone, but as an equal. While you chained yourself to politics and wealth, I stepped into the stars, and the stars welcomed me." Gasps rippled again. Kaylin placed a hand gently over hers, and for a brief moment his form flickered, revealing wings of light, vast and radiant, hidden beneath his human guise. The cathedral erupted in awe. Cassandra stepped back, her face pale. Her father whispered to his aides, already calculating the political implications. Jordan, desperate, shouted, "You think anyone cares? You're still nothing compared to me." But no one believed him anymore. Ending. The ceremony dissolved into chaos. Guests swarmed Nyla and Kaylin, eager to speak, to connect, to align themselves with the power now radiating from her presence. Cassandra's father abandoned Jordan at the altar to bow politely before Kaylin. Even the priest seemed torn between duty and reverence. Jordan stood there, trembling, realizing he had lost everything in a single moment. The woman he had invited to be shamed had instead stolen the spotlight, not through malice, but by simply being greater than he could ever imagine. Nyla approached him one last time, her eyes soft, not cruel. "You could have had a different life, Jordan," she said quietly, "but you chose pride, and pride always eats itself." She turned away, walking hand in hand with Kaylin, who unfurled his wings of light once more as they ascended toward the cathedral doors. The glow followed them, leaving the guests bathed in radiance. Jordan fell to his knees, surrounded by whispers of betrayal, pity, and disdain. His empire of pride crumbled not with an explosion, but with silence. Outside, as Nyla and Kaylin stepped into their transport, the city sky shimmered. A fleet of Thalrene ships hovered above, cloaked until now, their presence a silent declaration. Nyla looked up, smiling. For the first time in years, she felt truly free. And Jordan Vale, millionaire technocrat, was left behind in the shadows of his own arrogance, forgotten, humiliated, not by the woman he scorned, but by the truth of what she had become.